Who, 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 who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my man in the building tonight. And before we get started with everything, just want to say that, again, my prayers have been with you and your family. I know you guys have gone through a difficult time. Shawnee, his mom, went home to glory this past week. But again, I don't want to steal any of that, but I just want you to know that we care about you so much, and prayers to you and your family and whatnot. But I'm just glad that you were able to join us tonight. So how are you doing? How's your family doing?
Yeah. Appreciate all the kind words I received from people during this time. Appreciate you too, Mr. Bennett, for you've been checking up on me periodically during this time.
No doubt.
And we're doing good. I'm doing good. Definitely had moments when it happened about a couple of weeks ago, but we had her funeral this past weekend, so it was just the final time we saw her. But other than that, the family's doing good. So appreciate all the prayers to everybody for everything that everybody was sending out to me. So yeah, me and the fam definitely appreciate that.
That sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, you're my partner, man. So I gotta look after my partner. So certainly, again, we appreciate you being here tonight with everything going on. But yeah, so this is our New Year's Eve show. Just make sure when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Certainly, it helps the algorithm. Also, consider becoming a subscriber to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and certainly any thing you want to give to us personally. Certainly our Cash Apps are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You'll see going there, but also consider dropping a Cash App or a Super Chat to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. You see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. But again, we appreciate anything that you want to give us certainly in this time as well. This is our year-end show. This is our sort of year-end wrap-up show. Wasn't sure if we're going to have a show tonight. So again, I'm thinking in the future we might want to do like the year in sports kind of. I grew up watching guy Warner Wolf or George Michael Sports Machine. They used to do like the year in sports, like the greatest plays from the year in sports and whatnot. I used to love looking forward to those the week of New Year's and whatnot. So I'm thinking maybe in the future we could do something like that. Have a year in review, biggest stories or biggest takeaways from the sports year.
Yeah, I think we could put together a top 10 because they be doing like top 25. They have access and the archives, all these past things. I don't know. My memory can go as far as a little.
I know.
So I could do. Yeah. We could probably put together a top 10.
Yeah. Maybe for next week we can kind of do a 2025 year in review. Some of the biggest takeaways from that. In a lot of sports, from all over the sports world. Certainly there's a lot to talk about. So yeah, so we can work on our compilation of our top 10 stories of the year and have that as a commentary. And certainly for those who are in the chat tonight. Certainly we'd love to hear from you also. What do you think of some of the top stories from 2025 that are worth mentioning? Certainly, be a part of that conversation certainly next week as we certainly chop that up in the world of sports. But yeah, but we wanted to, definitely get a show. And there's been certainly a lot of content, a lot of stuff that's been happening certainly since last week. Again, not having the show, then you had the Thursday night game and whatnot. And so a lot of things are going on in the NFL. A lot of things have been just a little bit topsy-turvy when it comes to the NFL. So again, as usual, we're going to start there, just kind of giving an overview of where we stand going into week 18 of the year. So again, congrats to the Eagles. Start with the NFC. Congrats to them for having the first back-to-back division winner with something like 20 years or something like that. The last time you had
It was at least a decade. I think it was like 8 to 10 years. But yeah, this is the first time there's been a repeat champion in the NFC East for at least a decade.
For sure, for sure, and certainly, a lot of injuries. I mean, I just take away from that just the injury plague. So it's like a lot at this time of the year. Who can stay healthiest? Certainly at the end of the year is what matters. But again, Eagles, they definitely, seem like things were getting a little rocky there. People were, the whole year has been kind of tumultuous, but it seemed like the last 2 or 3 games they've been able to string some wins together. It seemed like they might have righted the ship. Congrats to the Bears for winning the NFC North. They've been consistent all year. I mean, again, another great game this past week where they had a chance to win it late. It was going, back and forth game. I mean, their offense is getting kind of scary. Shout out to Caleb Williams. I know that's my guy Hink's favorite player. And so, certainly he's showing that he can, play in the big moments, but again, Purdy and the 49ers, we were talking about them a couple weeks ago. I didn't think they'd be able to make it out between Seattle and the Rams. It looks like now they're going to be playing for the division. So, the South, with Carolina and Tampa Bay, I mean, Tampa Bay is just, free falling. They still have a chance. They don't have destiny in their own hands, from what I understand. Like, they need to certainly beat Carolina, but I think Atlanta has to lose in order for them to win. Whereas I think Carolina can still win the division even if they lose. I think if Atlanta wins.
Yeah, because Atlanta plays New Orleans, and I believe after Atlanta had that upset win versus the 49ers.
Yeah.
Which
or the Rams?
No,
Rams.
The Rams. That killed me because I was dependent on the Rams' big three to help me win my fantasy championship, and I lost like 20-some points. All because I think I maybe would have won, but they kept calling back everything Nakua did because somebody was holding or something. But
yeah,
they mentioned that
that was a blade hold though. I mean, they talk about the catch that he didn't make at the end where the guy got his hand in there, but the throw before that was clearly PI. I mean, it was. So I don't know where. I don't know. That a lot of these refs have been holding these whistles as of late. Don't get me started about that Steelers Browns game. So again, I think, and you already got the conspiracy theories out that the NFL wanted this, right? They wanted as many games going into Week 18 where the division was on the line, and so it's like they kind of did everything they could to make sure that you get the outcome. But the Rams in the West, since you mentioned them, it was a bit of a free fall. I mean, they had that. Arguably the game of the year against Seattle. I mean, so many things that had to go right for Seattle to win that game. And, so again, but it's like back-to-back losses for the Rams when they were clearly, I think they had a few weeks ago, they were the number 1 seed. And it's amazing how things change in the last few weeks.
But their losses have been just fairly even though they started off bad versus Atlanta, but then they started, getting their rhythm in the fourth quarter. And it just basically ran out of time. They took too long to get some type of rhythm. It was clearly Stafford's worst game of the season. I mean, he was, I think, had under 5 interceptions all season. Next thing you know, he threw 3 of them. I think he has as much interceptions that game that he has the whole season.
Right.
I think prior to coming to the game, he only had 4.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I still think, but they out because I believe when Seattle and San Fran won their last games before the Rams played the Falcons, the Rams was already kind of eliminated from winning the NFC West.
Right.
So you want to have, I'm curious if that potentially played, some type of mental part in their slow start versus Atlanta. Because they was in the playoffs, but a lot of these teams, they go by stages. Win your division first, conference, then the Super Bowl. And because they was basically eliminated from winning the division even before they played, there probably was some type of mental block that they had to get out, but still, I mean, that was a real good game by Robinson. But I still do think that the Rams are a strong team in the NFC because obviously they can hang with anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
The majority of their losses, it was just very close. Remember, they lost to Philly because Philly blocked the field goal. And I think the Rams was up on Philly, but they came back to beat them. So, let me see, who else? Carolina surprised me. Like you say, Tampa Bay has been free falling.
Yeah, I think it was like 7 out of the last 9 games, something like that.
Yeah, they've been playing some good football. Because remember, what's his name? Bryce Young was benched last season.
Right.
People's already calling him a bust because It happens when you get two young quarterbacks drafted back to back. In this case, it was Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, and last year it was Caleb Williams and Jalen Daniels. Daniels and Stroud was a number two overall pick. They both started their first rookie season off stronger than both of the number ones. But now it looks like, well, once we get to the AFC, I'll talk about Stroud. But it looked like Bryce Young, after he got benched, came back with a new focus. And you could see what Caleb Williams is doing in Chicago under Ben Johnson. And I always tell people how they so quick to throw these young quarterbacks to the side. Because you're seeing it right now, even with Sam Darnold. Coaches matter in football, probably more than any other sport. And most of the time, these dudes get drafted to a high. They get drafted high, but they go into a bad organization. There's a reason why they picking that high.
Right.
And they just don't have the foundation, or you can look at their track record. They're just bad. And also, you put them with an actual competent coach who can coach them up. And next thing you know, you be like, I'm looking at Caleb Williams, because that was a good game. Who they played and lost to?
49ers.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that's one of the highlight games here. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, he was going strike for strike with them.
Yeah. No doubt. So, and I got to give credit to New Orleans now. I wasn't going to mention this in it, but New Orleans, I think they won 3 games in a row. Have they found their quarterback? Because, I mean, that was a mess going into the season. But, do you think that, and maybe you could probably chime on this in the chat, but have they found their guy? Are you rolling with Shuck as the QB? He's an older player. I think he's like 25, 26.
He's earned to be starter next season, to start the year of next season. So when they come into training camp, he will be QB1, and he's earned that.
Go ahead. You good? You go ahead. I think that was me.
Oh. No, I was just saying, yeah, he earned that spot in the starting. And then as we continue to look, I don't know what happened to Green Bay. I know in the past we talked about Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons is primarily a pass defense, pass rush. But with his injury, next thing you know, they can't stop the run. And Derrick Henry gassed him.
Yeah, he did. No doubt.
And now that gassing game then put, I'm pretty sure you got plenty to say about that now, because that game done put them in a chance to potentially win this division.
Story of my life. You see my hashtag tonight, right? Never had a losing season. That's the only thing I'm hanging my hat on tonight. Lifetime never had a losing. That's the only thing I got left.
He had 200+ yards and 4 touchdowns. Man.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, quarterback. I mean, Love didn't play, and they had the backup, and he was okay. Malik Willis, but certainly they got the injury bug. They just pick up your guy from Dallas, Trey Diggs. I just read. He's joining the squad, so they're trying to buffer the defense somewhat.
Good luck with that one. Maybe he can regain his All-Pro form with new scenery. He just fell out with the Cowboys. It was just drama, and I was surprised when they let him go, because the stuff that was just going on during the season. And then ultimately, I don't know how true the story is, but ultimately it looked like he was concussed because he was trying to hang up a TV and it fell on his head.
Oh
so it was weird, man. But
wow.
They was talking about it down here, like, it was hard to trade him because of his contract. But we was like, we didn't know he was going to get released like right before the end of the season. But we thought next year there's a good chance he won't be back on the team.
Gotcha. Speaking of teams, certainly I want to invite my candidate for 2025 5th and 6th grade Coach of the Year, Coach Ferg, in the building tonight. Had a lot of obstacles to overcome with these girls, but he got through the season, and I know they gained some benefit from it. But Coach, how you been? What's going on, sir? How are we doing?
How y'all doing, man? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
loud and clear.
Some connection issues, man. No, man. I wish it was true, man. I wish I did get Coach of the Year.
Hey, I'm putting my ballot in for you. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I appreciate it as much stress they cause. But again, man, reflecting back on it over these last few weeks, man, it taught me a lot. It taught me, to dig into patience a little more because the mind has changed, and and just it taught me some things to do and what not to do early.
Yeah, like save your
So
vocal cords, man. You got to learn how to.
yes, keep my blood pressure down too. So, but I will say this though, brother Bennett,
Yeah.
I did apply for a position at the high school,
Okay.
and what I've been doing, I guess, the last few months also is this: I said I'm a substitute, so I can get back into the school. So I can go into the school, I can give them the spiel, I can talk about some of the topics that we're discussing and throughout the day for the classes, right? So I did see this position that I like the school. The kids are pretty receptive. Again, this is outside of sports, but I applied for it. They don't start interviewing until the 10th. So I talked to the athletic director. So we'll see, man. He know who I am. Hopefully he pulls me. But I just want to interview,
I heard that. I'm just going to put in a quick shameless plug of what Coach is referring to. So we got Coach and I, we have a show on the Sparta HQ Network, Next Gen Training. So again, a lot of basics that we've been sort of teaching, a lot of coaching for young people in all aspects of life. We put together a stream of shows there. So again, you can go over to, again, Sparta HQ Network, look up Next Gen Training, and you can look up some of those shows where Coach and I share our wisdom and experience in terms of how to be successful at any age, quite frankly, but particularly our focus is certainly for young persons who are looking to do better in life. So, certainly looking to apply those principles and take those shows and be able to, promote those and, have an interaction with folks who want to get more information. So, but appreciate the platform that, Coach and I have been able to give that to. It's been pretty fun for me as well. But yeah, Coach, we getting into again after week 17 of the NFL. So again, we got this crazy weekend coming up. We just was sort of putting our summary of the NFC standings where it is. So if you want to come in real quick and kind of give your 10,000-foot view of how you're seeing the NFC North, how it's played out, definitely some flip flopping over the last couple of weeks. But your thoughts on what you're getting, what you've seen from the NFC side, and then we'll jump over to the AFC side.
No, just really quick, man. I appreciate the whole, I guess, the last month of football. It's really been interesting. You've seen some changes. Some people that were in, now they fighting by the hair, they chinny chin chin. Some people that could have been in, they either advanced themselves or fell off. But NFC North, I don't know. I mean, it's a great division. I'm glad to see Chicago is relevant this year. And everybody else seemed to have had some injuries at the wrong time, so they didn't really get the wins that they needed. But yeah, man, just the whole NFC, man. I listen. I don't want to talk about them because I know, saying the America's team fans, they be crying about this time of the year. But I'm surprised that the Cowboys fell the way they did. I'm just surprised. I thought that they would rally once they got everybody back, and they will sort of build off of that. But I'm happy for Carolina. If they win, they in. That's great. I'm disappointed in Tampa Bay because we was high on Tampa Bay early in the season. They seem to have fell off. Seattle, it seems like Sam Darnold's for real. That's going to come down to a great race in the West. So I'm just excited about the whole playoff picture right now. So
yeah. And speaking of Seattle, again, I was talking with Shawnee and Dante in the back. Y'all had said nothing about your boy Jackson and Jigba from Seattle. He's arguably the best wide receiver in the league, putting up ridiculous numbers. And when I read up on him, the man was a beast in Texas. I'm saying, how'd you guys allow that guy to leave the state? It's beyond
that during that time, that's when mainly you heard a lot about UT, but A&M falling under that too, because they starting to be a pretty big program. But Texas, cause if you look around at college football, there's a lot of marquee players, but they from Texas. But many of them be going to Ohio State, which and Jigma did go to. But yeah, he went to high school over here. It's on the east Dallas suburb of Rockwall. And yeah, he was making noise there. I mean, you heard about him. He was wrecking shop. I forgot how his team did in the playoff, but he was definitely. It wasn't quiet, so I was like, I don't know. I can't. I don't know what was his like signing day options with school, if UT was a part of it or he just wanted to go to Ohio State. But yeah, he was definitely making noise up here in DFW. There's just one that they let slip away, and he was doing this thing in Ohio State as well.
Yeah, my
And
man was like all Texas, all everything
yeah,
over there, man. So
and he was he you saw the talent in Seattle, but cause it was with Geno, and that's when Geno had his breakout season. But he definitely took a leap forward with Darnold. So that just gives props to Darnold. He got a marquee receiver, and he's working with him. So, but yeah, he was definitely making noise up here in DFW. That was one of the things that I think UT is kind of coming back, especially under Sark. But before Sark and them or his early time, that was one of the things that like why y'all keep letting these marquee home talented players keep getting out of Texas. They going everywhere else, but you could have signed Jackson Smith. Now maybe he didn't want to go through. Like I don't, there's a whole lot to follow these kids in the signing days.
right.
But he was definitely making. I remember him making noise up here in DFW. He was
Yeah,
wrecking
I
shop
heard
on
that.
all the cornerbacks.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Shout out to our guy Anton in the build tonight. Yes, we're gonna look. We don't even talk about. It's too early to talk about NBA, right? So I'm not getting the high. Although I think that classic was that hockey classic that's usually held outside. They're doing it in Tampa. I'm like, how are you gonna pull that off? With the weather, they had that game outside. But in any event, that's the only thing I know of hockey right now. It's too early, man. I got to at least get through halfway the season before we bring it up. And we're also waiting for your channel to drop. So again, what you waiting for? You the hockey expert. You're one of the few black hockey fans that I know who really follows the sport. So we're waiting for your channel to pop off. So what are you waiting for? So we waiting for you, sir. So again, as soon as you get that channel off, we will definitely be supporting you. But I just wanted to acknowledge you as always. You've been the biggest supporter of this channel all year, and I really just want to give you your roses right here. We really appreciate you being a part of this channel, keeping the chat lively, and everything that you do for us. So really appreciate you. Real talk. But let's jump over to the AFC side of things. It seems like New England, certainly they seem to be, I think they had the top seed at this point. I know Denver, they had an upset loss last week. But for me, the scariest team I don't want to play right now is Houston. That defense is top notch, and I know you guys still have some questions about Stroud, but I mean they are a scary team. I picked them almost against anybody at this point to be competitive in the game. That's the last team I want to play, but they're definitely they're up there. I mean, obviously the crazy stuff that's going on with the AFC North don't get me started. I mean, obviously, as soon as when I saw Baltimore with the backup quarterback, you figure Jackson didn't even play with their backup Tyler Huntley went and like you said, they basically ran over the Packers. I was like, are we in trouble? And then as usual, the Steelers have a penchant to losing the teams they got no business losing to. And so now we're setting up for this divisional for the AFC North. Sunday, 8:20 Monday Night Football. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But Chargers, they had they lost again to Houston. They had, any chances they had at the division were lost. So it's like Denver's, they're going to walk away with that. But I don't think going into this last week, I don't think Houston can catch Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville plays Tennessee. So I'm almost saying that's a wrap unless they decide to rest their players. I don't think if Jacksonville loses and Houston wins, I still don't think Houston can capture the division just based on conference.
No, I think I think they will. I think they just waiting for Jacksonville to lose. I think if Jacksonville lose.
Oh, they have a chance. They still got a shot at it.
Yeah, because that means that Houston will have the better division record. Because if Jacksonville loses, that means they will have at least 2 AFC South losses. The only loss the AFC South Houston has is the early loss against Jacksonville by like a touchdown, 6 points, something like that. But then they beat Jacksonville. That's their only loss. So if Houston wins, so basically Houston currently on an 8-game win streak, and Jacksonville is on a 7.
Right.
Houston's win streak started when they beat Jacksonville,
Right.
but they just can't catch up because Jacksonville keep winning. So basically, Jacksonville plays Tennessee and Houston plays Indy, and I don't think Rivers has already been announced that Rivers retired again.
Yeah.
So they play with their third.
Shout out to the OG. Look,
now, he looked
I
good.
know he went 0-3,
good.
but shout out to Gen X and the OG. He put up certainly a gave him a fighter's chance every game to win. And,
I don't blame him for that
loss
loss to the 49ers.
Yeah. So I give that guy all the credit in the world for getting off to be able to turn that around and perform the way he did. Salute to Rivers for what he did. But
you can see when he was throwing the ball, he didn't have the arm there, but you could see what I enjoy about watching Rivers doing them. What he played 2 or 3 games.
3
games. You can clearly see his knowledge of the game, the way he was reading the defenses and whatnot. Like I said, that game versus 49ers, he was able to fit into the windows, leading his receivers. He wasn't able to throw the ball super deep, but he was able to get it there. But that game with the 49ers, that pick 6, because they were picking it up, I think it was Tyler Warren. And it was, I guess that's when you pay attention to the details of the game, when he tried to he was trying to get to the first down marker, tried to do a quick hitch, but he telegraphed it. Mm-hmm. He looked before he did. He stopped and turned around, and the linebacker read it right there. And the ball was coming directly at Warren. So it's just stuff like that. But, yeah, he was looking good versus 49ers. That loss, you couldn't put that on Rivers. He was able to go blow for blow. His defense did not help him out at all. I know they had they running game disappeared too. You thought Jonathan Taylor was going to give him help. Him and his defense just kind of disappeared. So, but yeah, he retired again. So he re-up on his NFL insurance plan.
Shout out to our guy Trey Taylor in the building tonight. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here as well. Shout out to him, the grandfather. All he proved that the New York Giants have no idea how to draft a quarterback. Now, Jones, yes, that is true. That is true. Hopefully, they don't mess up Jackson Dart, because I think he can certainly be something. Before we go to Coach, just want to give an update. Miami is actually up 14-0 on Ohio State. So we're smelling upset in the making here. In the College Bowl series, now that the series actually gets started. I'm not going to talk too much about that those opening games, but certainly they're up 9-43 in the second, and they're up 14-0 in the game. So I'll be watching this to see what happens. Going forward.
Speaking of Miami, that was a big win, because the rest of these playoff games they're going to be playing in neutral fields. Like this one right now is in Arlington up here at Dallas Stadium. The game they had that was 2 weeks ago. The first round of these playoffs, when they had it at A&M, and that was a thing, because they going to those schools. So that was, if you know A&M college football, that atmosphere was an incredible college football atmosphere, and Miami went there. And for a while, it was just a defensive battle.
Yeah. Don't give too much away. We're going to get there. I'm just
yeah.
Like I said, this is live. I'm just looking at the score. I'm like, whoa, because in fact, Ohio State, I think they were down at the Miami 22. I don't see exactly what happened. It must have been a turnover or something. But certainly we'll keep you guys up to date on it again. Well, you guys are following me anyway. But certainly I just wanted to mention that. But Coach, your thoughts on the AFC picture? At this point, what's standing out to you from the AFC side, from the high level view?
Yeah, real quick, the Ohio State game, they just punted, so Miami's getting the ball back again. Could drive again. It's looking like it's going to be a blowout, but it is two halves to every football game. I mean, the ALC, man, I like the ALC. I'm surprised, of course, I said a few weeks ago, Lamar quit on his team. He quit on his team. I'm interested to see if he's going to play in this game right now. But again, Derrick Henry, he's the catalyst, and when they go to him, they see the results. And I think this comes with Indianapolis. you have to continue to run the running back. You have, even if you're getting 2 or 3 yards, you have to continue to run so to open up your passing plays when you do the play action. But again, it comes down to sometimes coaches play calling, really. Cincinnati and Cleveland, shout out to Shador, man. He's balling. He's the legit number 1 coming into practice next year. So that's cut that out.
I don't know.
He's legit.
He's a
he's
turnover
legit.
machine. He's a
if
turnover
Phillip
machine,
Rivers
man.
can get, he's legit. He's all right. They just need to draft linemen and defense. But salute Shador. The Denver and the Clippers, that's going to be a tough one coming out. Denver looks good. They've been rolling, but we are coming down to the hardest part of the season, and they may fall off. Never know. I think LA is always too soft. Again, they look good early, but I think they're too soft. Houston, yeah, they are dangerous, but Jacksonville is also dangerous too. I think they're very underrated. I think Jacksonville's underrated because they playing football all the way through the game. So I think that's a good it's going to be a good game if they do get to play each other. New England, Buffalo, yeah, they're going to battle it out. They're going to battle it out because, Buffalo, they won against New England on the last minute. Then they looked bad last week. And again, man, we'll see, man. I think it's wide open. I'll just say this with the Pittsburgh and Baltimore game. It's going to come down to turnovers in that game. It's going to come down to turnovers. Whoever had the most turnovers will lose that game.
Right. We're going to get into that game certainly, as the show goes on. Just want to kind of get the high level view. But yeah, Coach, I gotta back my guy on Trey on this one. Yeah, Shador, man's got multiple INT games since he's sort of been in there and whatnot. I think one game really looked good. So I don't know, man. I mean, and his team only put up 10 points. 13 points the last game. So yeah, he's got to show me a little something else. Sean, show me, what do you think of Shador?
Trying to make the big
so
play.
far?
This is the dude first year in the league, and he didn't even play a full league. I mean, you saw Peyton Manning. I'm not comparing him to Peyton Manning as far as his whole career, but Peyton Manning.
You're gonna get yourself in trouble. Don't do it.
They overreactors, man. They're not listening to what I'm saying. But Peyton Manning he broke the NFL record, I believe, his first year. So it's just a young quarterback trying to learn the game, man. So I still don't know.
I mean, if they're still committed to
Dylan Gabriel, that's what I'm saying.
No, the guy they can sign all the money to.
Man, I don't.
They still
I don't know.
They got to see,
Man, Watson, just be a backup, man. Right now, man, you know your future is not with them. They just can't get rid of you because of your contract, and you've been completely unproductive for them. So they might just. Well, right now you've been seeing teams because the cap keep going up because of recent media deals. You seeing teams just cut players now and just taking a bullet, pay off their contract and just take it.
So I told you they were going to come after you.
They don't listen. As soon as they listen to names, they don't pay attention. I'm saying Peyton Manning threw a lot of interceptions, and people were saying the same thing about that. Basically, Shador, he throws interceptions right now too. This dude only started 3 games so far this year. Let the man get his kinks out. Nobody's saying I don't know how good he's going to be in the NFL.
Right.
But right now, if he's throwing interceptions, I'm not. He's getting burned in the quarterback position. Welcome to the NFL.
This is the ultimate diss right here.
And let me ask this:
Marcus Russell. That's the ultimate. You can't get any more worse than that.
No, because
Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell. Those are
but comparing Peyton to Shador as a rookie, he's right. Peyton was drafted high, so his expectations should have been higher. Shador, 5th round draft pick. He throws a few interceptions, but they know his play is comparable to a quarterback in the NFL. He's just trying to make the big play. Once he figures that out, he'll be all right.
He's just doing pretty much what all. If you ask a rookie quarterback, a lot of them, you give them a chance to be a gunslinger, there's gonna be a lot of interceptions. They just once that defense starts figuring out how to scheme and stuff, they haven't seen that before. They'll fake them out all the time. So everybody ain't gonna be like Jalen Daniels or C.J. Stroud their rookie season. But again, they had a whole season to work on. Sanders, we all know what type of circus the Browns was doing before he got a chance to start. So, hopefully he get a chance to compete for a starting position. But Sanders right now just going through rookie season, rookie blues right now. I'm not really. If Jerry Jeudy quit on him, nobody really think about Jerry Jeudy as a premier receiver anyway. That's why he gets bounced the way he does. They might find a receiver whoever they decide to make QB1 next year. Cleveland may end up. He don't come out this year. I think he come out next year, but because I'm looking at Jeremiah Smith, but I don't think he comes out this year. Because if he came out this year and Cleveland had a chance to get him, bye, Judy.
I hear you. Just a quick recap of the playoff picture. So again, right now, Denver and Seattle are actually the number 1 seeds at this point. Patriots are 2 seed, but I still think they may eke that one out. Green Bay and the Bears are the wild cards. LA and Philly. So again, it's going to come down to, again, there's a lot of games, or a lot of these the shuffling is going to take place in the last game of the season. And we can certainly go into some of those games and look at some of these outcomes, especially the ones that are going to go head to head for the division. But I wanted to also talk about. Let's talk about
real quick, Mr. Bennett.
Yeah.
Just real quick. So if San Fran beats Seattle, they basically just going to swap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. And I agree. Texans, again, scary to me. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If Stroud, if he can just play decent, he doesn't have to be a superstar. Let the defense play and just be a game manager. They could be very scary going down the stretch.
About Stroud, he is a quarterback that I watched. He has diminished since his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
The way he reads defenses, sometimes he'll throw the ball. Be like, dude, what was you looking at? He had an interception like that versus the Chargers. Defense just standing right there. You throw him the ball, like, who are you looking at? And he does that, and he has a bad tendency all of a sudden, this bad habit now of his passes sailing over his receivers.
Yeah.
And that gets him in trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if we could
the only other thing I would say about just, again, I don't trust a lot of dome teams, especially when you got to go to New England, you got to go to Denver, you may go to Pittsburgh, any of these cold weather environments. A lot of these dome teams don't tend to play as well. I know they looked terrific a couple years ago when they had that home game against Cleveland, and when they went to Baltimore. I mean, you could say Baltimore was a better team, but it's just like the elements there didn't agree with them. That was a very tough game to play.
Yeah, but you said, but they defense travels.
Yeah, no question. But you still got to put the points on the board. So we got to see.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
you leave that defense, they'll put the points on the board the way they get after a quarterback. If for whatever reason the Texans get a lead and you have to throw the ball, you just unleash the Kraken with them.
I heard that. So about some of the games that we missed. So again, we had missed a week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about this game here. Very exciting game, very topsy-turvy. It just seemed like everything just broke right for Seattle, getting the game into overtime, and then even I think they went for 2 to win the they got the 2-point conversion. So so really. Yeah, so but you figure they got also the 2-pointer where I think the ball went. They threw the pass backwards, and it bounced off a guy and it went to the end zone. They still got the 2-point conversion. So it just seemed like a lot of things just broke Seattle's way. But that was just a very exciting game, topsy-turvy type of game. And I think I might have took, like, whoever lost that game, I think it certainly reflected in the Atlanta game that you talked about earlier. I think just the shell shock of losing that game when it seemed like they were in position to win it, and they're up 10 with 8 minutes left in the game, and they just kept pecking away, and and got the job done. But yeah, certainly one of the more enjoyable games that I saw this year. But Shawnee, what was your thoughts at the game?
Well, this was the game that basically, kicked the Rams out for potentially winning the NFC West. Like I say, they lost the division before they played the Falcons. It was just when Seahawks beat them, they had the driver's seat. I believe the Seahawks beat them the first game as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that they already lost that one. But the game was great. the game was a great game. Like I say, it definitely helped me that week that they, even though they lost, it helped me in fantasy. Obviously, this past game they didn't. But it showed that, Sam Darnold, he found his rhythm this season. Last season you saw it, and then of course everybody was bringing it because he ended on a slide. But then he was able to regain his form back this year, and it's like he at one time his name was in the MVP conversation.
Oh, for sure.
And like mid
up until very I think this last game, notwithstanding those 3 INTs. Yeah, I think he's out of it now.
But he is definitely like this. We talking about Smith and Jigma. He definitely has a connection with them. So now you have your. I don't know if Seattle is really considering him a franchise quarterback right now. I think so, cause I think this is the first like multi-year. I believe that's what I think Darnold said. I think it's the first. No, that was whoever. I'm thinking. I don't know if it was him or Daniel Jones, but they first time they getting like a multi-year deal or something with another team, something like that. It was one quarterback, but now he has his number one receiver, and I guess Seattle is considering him as their franchise quarterback. So I would not be surprised if they give him a new contract, and if it is, I could see this being like a Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson tandem before Cousins left, because them two they were putting stats together. It's not everybody had their thoughts about Cousins, but the connection between him and Jefferson was legit. And that's why Jefferson was getting the accolades he is now, because Cousins was feeding him the ball. And I could see Darnold doing the same thing with Smith and Jigma. Put like another 3 seasons with them together. Who knows how JSN number's going to be? Because he has a quarterback now that will feed him, no different than Stafford does with Nakua down with the Rams. One thing they're going to do, if they have a number one receiver, they will be getting targets.
No doubt. Yeah. Coach, your thoughts on that game? I don't know how much you were able to watch.
And I watch football in my sleep sometimes. I mean, it was a great game, man. I think
to me that was the best game of the year. That definitely is right up there with the best of it. So
I think Sam Darnold picked the wrong time to have one of the worst games of the season, though. In Seattle, they've been playing consistent. Even when they lose, they still in the game. And I think Sam Darnold has found his home. They definitely will be re-signing him to a lot. If they win the playoff game, he's gonna get a better contract. But I think his whole ability to sort of read defenses has gotten better. And, what he did in Minnesota sort of showed the growth that he's made, right? And he wasn't to be that long-term quarterback.
Right.
Now in Seattle, you're not going to hear of anybody. They may bring in they're going to have a backup, but they're not going to draft a quarterback. They can focus on running backs, receivers, defensive. Focus on defense to get a slot receiver, running back, everything else defense, a lineman or 2. Seattle will be okay, but I see them being a contender in the West, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, though.
Yeah, I hear you.
The Rams, Sam Darnold, he's old. It looks pretty, until they have to go to a cold place to play at this time of the year. So.
Yeah.
Except these dome teams, you got to see how they're going to perform.
I want to bring up a quick point about the Rams. Remember, they haven't had Devontae Adams the past 3 games.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2
while he was resting his hammy. He
right.
said he feel good now.
Right.
And that was Stafford's. A lot of his touchdowns was going to him, especially in the red zone. And
right.
you saw that, I know him and Puka have a good relationship, but you saw missing Adams was a key part. So I think he'll be back by the playoffs. And there you can go back and see that the Ram offense back before his injury, because they was definitely legit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to have to bail him out. And that's the only thing. I mean, like I said, the defense is virtually non-existent. So, I mean, if they're going to, and again, once you get into these cold weather environments, if they got to go to Philly or what have you, I don't see how, is that offense still going to be clicking when you have to go into those environments. But let's talk about the MVP race a little bit. So I think that Drake May, I think, locked this up. So again, I mean, obviously it's against the Jets, 5 TDs against the Jets, 19-21. I think he is at this point. I think he will be the MVP, certainly of the league. And shout out to him because I didn't think a whole lot about him coming out, but certainly with the new coach in that system. And again, I know Trey was saying they haven't really played anybody yet, but certainly he's putting up incredible numbers. And I think he's the runaway MVP at this point. What say you, Sean? You think it's still Stafford or someone else?
No, by far, that game Stafford just had basically ruined his chances of winning. You throw, especially versus the Falcons, which was completely unexpected. This was a game that they needed, well, somewhat needed to get like a higher seeding. But yeah, you throw a 3-interception game, and remember they come out that first half with 0 points. So I mean, I think it's Drake May's award to lose, and it's completely like coming through the season. You looking at these MVP candidates, potential candidates. Drake May's name was nowhere on the list.
Yeah,
I don't even know. You like who Drake May? You probably would get kicked out of the room for mentioning Drake May.
Right. Well, initially we're talking about all the running backs, right? The guy from Indiana.
But this is a quarterback award. I mean,
true that.
If Saquon Barkley had the season he had last year and still didn't win it, man, you can forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can forget it. It's just go to quarterbacks, man. I really don't know what another position player has to do, especially after, the dude he had a chance of breaking a single game and a single season rushing record, and they still didn't give it to him. Yeah, just renamed to a quarterback award. But it was always the usual. Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the Lamar Jacksons, the Joe Burrow, if he could stay healthy. Just the usual names at the QB position. You think of all these different quarterbacks. So even Jalen Hurts' name was on there, the way he performed in the Super Bowl. And Drake May name, what was his record he finished last year? Like they only won 3 games?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. This definitely under 5 games.
I don't know if it's really Drake May. Well, give props to Drake May, but him or Mike Vrabel though. Mm-hmm. It's a huge turnaround for Mike Vrabel.
No question. Coach, your thoughts on the MVP race? Do you think May's locked it up?
Man, listen, man. If it was left up to me, man, I'll vote Sam Darnold. What he's done the last couple of years and what he's doing this year, man, you won't see that again for a while. Go for one team, give them a winning record opportunity. Then you go to another team the next year and y'all still fighting for number 1 seed. That says a lot, man. And, Drake May, if he get it, won't nobody argue about it. He's a young quarterback. What is his second year? Starting. They like Vrabel. Everybody likes the New England mantra. But he also has a offensive coordinator that's an offensive minded coordinator. So those players usually always succeed, But what Sam Darnold's doing, man, I don't think we'll ever see that again, especially a quarterback. Not even, he was written off early. He went to 2 or 3 teams, then he go to Minnesota.
Yeah, he went to the Jets, and then I think he went to the Panthers for a year, didn't he?
Yeah, then you go to Minnesota, give him a winning season, even though they wasn't projecting you to start. And then you go to Seattle next year, and now you're fighting for a number 1 seed. Says a lot. I think I'll say this, and I think if Seattle wins, I think he'll get the MVP.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Shout out to our guy, as always. Again, Anton in the building with the $20 super chat. Again, we appreciate the support you've given us all year. I lost all respect for the New England for what they did to Gerard Mayo on the fire after 1 season in order to get Mike Vrabel, but you can't argue with the success. You could compare that to when Mark Jackson was fired from the Warriors and they brought in Steve Kerr and he took that team and won. Could Mark Jackson have done the same thing? We'll never know. But whatever Vrabel's doing up there, it's working. So certainly winning cures a lot of ills, and certainly with that fan base up there, so they're happy with the result.
On the page.
You lose respect for New England when they were deflategating and spying. You should have lost respect then.
Mayo, he just I mean, yeah, it just didn't look right with him. It
Mm.
didn't look like with him at all, man. I mean, if you see an immediate change between head coaches and the production of the team, yeah, I think it's safe to say they made the they made the right move, man.
So
but
you say the same thing about again Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. That was the right decision too. You think?
Yeah, because well, obviously we have to because this is the first year of Variable as the coach of the Patriots. Right
but
now with the Warriors, we have a whole over a decade, and including that right when Kerr became head coach, they put together within his first 2 years one of the greatest NBA seasons of all time. Just to finish off with the championship, but he ultimately goes and wins 4 championships. So, but yeah, initially and there's people out there still say that he won that with Mark Jackson team. I'm like, Mark Jackson didn't know he didn't have that offense clicking like Kerr did.
Mhm.
That's just like, ooh, you gotta give. I mean, I understand that's what front office of professional teams do. If they look at a team and they say they believe that there's another gear that this team can get to, and this particular coach is just they know their team better than anybody else on the outside. And they think they know, and then if they make that change and it happens to work, not only work, but exponentially work, oh, I mean, I don't see why anybody even arguing about it. They clearly made the right decision.
Yeah, yeah, for
but
sure.
let me ask you this though. But with New England, was McDaniel who was offensive coordinator for them last year? It wasn't McDaniel, was it? Because he's
Uh,
calling them. He I think to me, I would give him more credit than Vrabel. Because again, he's a defensive minded coach. Mayo's a defensive minded coach. You have to have the right coordinator if you're a defensive minded coach. Because
what's it?
you have to understand the quarterback's best ability and be able to maximize that during the games and calling plays. A lot of coaches that are defensive minded don't know how to do that to an offensive minded coach. That's why you see the teams have success. They have an
It was
offensive minded.
actually Alex Van Pelt
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
Let's see, you know what I mean,
Cause you
shit,
remember
he was a
that
scrub.
was yeah, and that was so it wasn't McDaniel last year, but that was Mayo's first season, and before then is when what's his name was still coaching there, and he tried to do that experiment with the offensive coordinator position. Uh, so, but yeah, what's his name? McDaniel's definitely a better coordinator. Uh, huh?
Yeah,
I heard that. I heard that.
get the grape.
Yep, there you go.
Get the grape.
You heard. She need to eat first.
It was sweet.
Oh yeah, let's see. There you go. Treat them, teach them right, teach them right. Let's move off this topic here. Let's go into the main topic of tonight. So obviously, couple weeks ago, Steelers go to Detroit, win a crucial game in their season. Subplot in the game was this interaction that DK Metcalf had with this fan. This fan's name is Ryan Kennedy, and apparently there's some history between him and DK when DK was still with Seattle. He had a interaction with this fan where this fan is noted for saying some very inappropriate things to DK. Then he did take, for what I understand, the proper steps in terms of alerting security and for Detroit to remove this fan. And apparently that didn't happen. So again, they go to Pittsburgh, goes up there, they win the game, barely, but they still, come out there with an important win. But he's caught interacting with this fan, and he basically grabs his wig and kind of bunches him. He doesn't strike him, but still, the interaction with the fan. The NFL came down very hard because everybody was saying, well, he'll get fined or maybe a 1-game suspension. He's basically suspended for the rest of the year. He lost 2 game checks totaling over $550,000. And for a minute there was speculation that he might have voided his guaranteed money, $45 million. But from what I understand, even though he got the suspension, the Steelers will not void his $45 million contract. Hopefully, if they win on Sunday, he'll be back for the playoff run, which they'll need him because unfortunately with the Steelers, certainly offensively, they really stagnated. You see the results with the 2 games, could barely get anything going against the Browns and lost in a terrible game at that point. So again, he's going to be much needed. Now you're going into this game against the Ravens without your number 1 wide receiver. and they're trying to do it by committee. And unfortunately, with Aaron Rodgers, because of his connection with Marquez Valdez Scantling, he went to him 9 targets, missed open guys or whatnot. So he just went back to what he knew. But it cost his team. I mean, bottom line. I mean, I understand, these interactions, how he was able to get that far over to the sideline to even interact with that fan. If I was his teammate, I would have tackled him and said, "What are you doing? I mean, we got business to take care of here." But what was your thoughts on the the suspension? Did you think it was fair? Did you and as far as that interaction, did the NFL drop the ball? I possibly could see a lawsuit coming, DK, against the NFL if he told those guys about them and Detroit didn't do anything about it. Then I can certainly see some repercussions coming up. But it seemed like the NFL was just trying to do a CYA type of move. But in other instances, guys have lost their season tickets or over things like that. So in one aspect, you could say it never should have happened because that fan shouldn't have been there. But I was still got to say to DK, bro, you can't do that to go over there. And again, how he was able to get that far off the sideline to interact with them the way he did is mind-boggling to me. But if this winds up costing the Steelers their season, then even more so, it was just a dumb move. But Shawnee, what are your thoughts on the DK suspension? Too harsh or whatever? Just the whole situation. And apparently, this guy's he's trying to sue and try to get some money out of it. So clearly, this is a troll. But again, your thoughts on the whole situation?
I want to hear Coach on it first.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Say about it.
Yep.
I mean, it's unfortunate, right? Because if they had a history, and it seemed like it was a pretty good distance from the stands to the team bench, I wouldn't know. The way he did it, it was all wrong. He did not have to go over there to the fan. He could have just alerted a little security on the, around the team. Somebody said, man, watch him, man. He's over. Because how could you hear him amongst that noise? And it didn't look like he had a seat where he was. The guy that had on the blue wind looked like he wasn't sitting there. He just came down there to harass DK. And the fact that they showed him punching, when I saw the punch, I'm like, he's gonna get suspended. Even though he didn't hit him, but he threw the punch. Just like in NFL, if you throw a punch, whether you connect or not, closed fist, you're going to get fined and suspended. So I think it was an immature move. Hopefully he learns from it. Hopefully it don't cost Pittsburgh, a chance for the playoffs. But it's just unfortunate, man. But they do have to do a better job of protecting players. Well, sometimes, man, players got to understand that. You on an opposing team, hell, there's people make $150,000 a year busting their TVs when their team lose. People get crazy, just over their team. So sometimes you just got to block it out, man. You was having a major impact on the game. You know what I'm saying? It's down to the wire. And it's not the first time you had an interaction. Listen, man, watch him. That guy right there, watch him. And I'm going to concentrate on this game, but it's just unfortunate, man.
Mm. Shawnee?
Yeah, man. When I saw it, because like Coach said, I believe they, if I can remember, I believe stadiums generally be having security that's kind of like in the stands area, but close to the rail, and then also the teams have respective security down there on the sideline with them. So like Coach mentioned, DK could have gestured, hey, go get that dude, or probably the security probably would have, if he's heard him getting out of control. But for what I'm going, so watching it when it happened, it gets the highlight when it happened. You see DK hitting the dude, grabbing the dude's hair, and then swinging at him basically, and then immediately would come out, which I was surprised when he mentioned it. He mentioned that the dude made a racial slur towards him. And so I'm like, okay, that's generally what happens when it's like a player who does something versus a fan. Generally, the first thing they will say is, a racial slur was thrown their direction, and I think it turned out it was no racial slur. I think the dude kept calling him by his first name. I forgot his first name, but
DeCallan. I think it's
yeah.
DeCallan. Yeah.
And even during his little press conference, if he kept mentioning his first name instead of DK. Like, dude, you don't know this dude on a personal level. Why you keep trying to? So he was poking at him a little bit during his press conference. But when I look at it like this, man, it's basically the same thing Coach just mentioned. When you are a 1% of the 1%er, meaning like you are a professional football player in the NFL, only 1% of us are able to do that, and you are one of the ones who are able to make generational wealth type money at that position, and so you obviously have like stuff to lose. I think in today's time, people they will always want a player to react the way they react, like the outside world react, like you just an average Joe on the streets. If somebody say something to you, oh, I have free will to swing on you because you pissed me off. Like, but you don't really, they may, press charges on you, and your worst thing just may be a little small police thing, like whatever the punishment may be. And then you go on about your life. But when you're a person in a public figure like Metcalf, and you have not only you play for the NFL, so your job will ultimately, because zero tolerance with them, so you'll ultimately get punished for them. It can ultimately threaten your wallet. Now you're gonna get fined, but then some other stuff, like you mentioned that it was a possibility that 40+ million could have been avoided, but he was able to slide by that. But now you have, cause I saw a video, that same blue-haired dude was mentioning like, this is what I wanted him to do. He was baiting him to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you fall into that, and now, okay, you done on the NFL side. NFL punish you. You do your 2-game suspension. Hopefully, it won't cost your respective team a chance to go to the playoffs. But now it's going to have collateral damage now because this dude already trying to go to a press conference, because I believe his whole thing was when DK's talking about the racial slur. So he's worrying about, he trying to save his character right now. But ultimately, this potentially can go as a civil suit towards DK. So now you're going to be spending specific time in the court. Maybe you have to settle it. Who knows? Spending more money on this. And it's just a whole lot of stuff that you open Pandora's box when you do that. So that, like you said, Mr. Ben, you just can't. I know it's hard, but when you have so much to lose, you just have to you have to find a way to ignore that noise. A lot of people want people to react the way an average person, but you can react like that, let your emotions get the best of you for that 5 seconds. Next thing you deal with this for the next year or so, because you got to go to court for something that was just so unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Like I say, you let security do whatever they have to do, kick this dude out.
Well, that's the issue, because like from what I understand, the same fan, when he was with the Seahawks last year, did the same thing. He went through the channels, he reported it, but Detroit did. There was no discipline, there was no punishment, there was no take away of season tickets. It should have been handled last year. I'm still not excusing DK, and again, I'm saying as a player, it's not like this guy is on the punt gunner team, right? You can lose sight of them. How do you lose your number one receiver? Just so happens to go all the way over to the. I'm like, look, bro. I'm like, if I'm with the receiver group or the quarterback, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, you talking to him after the play or after the score or whatever. I'm like, look, bro, where you going? It's like, so how he was able to get over there. You're one of the most profile players on the team, How was he able to get over there? And none of his teammates knew that he was over there. Like I said, if you're the backup center, okay, I can get that because no one's paying attention to you. But you're the number one receiver, and as you saw last week, it's not even close in terms of what he can do versus what these other players can do. But I want to acknowledge, again, our guy Anton, again, thanks for the $5 super chat. DK was better off contacting security, having to deal with the troll. Again, he did that last time, and I guess nothing happened. I still agree with you, though. He shouldn't have did it. But it was, so that's why I'm thinking if this guy sues and tries to get something, I can see DK countersuing either the Lions or the NFL in terms of the harshness of the punishment because they didn't do their job in dealing with that fan when they should have last year. And we got another super chat for a $20 super chat. Again, thank you once again. At MetLife Stadium, security is usually handled by a private company and the New Jersey State Police. Yeah, we don't play out here. And at Lumen Stadium in Seattle, Seattle police have personnel dressed undercover as fans.
So can I ask you a question, though, in reference to this whole incident, right? Now, I'm sure if it happened in Seattle, right, and whatever they did to the fan, right, and it's obviously there's communication issues throughout the league on when you have incidents like this with a fan. Hey, this fan is banned based off of blah, 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 right? There should be a universal banning of those type of fans.
Right.
Because obviously you in Seattle, here we are way over here on
the again, I know it might have been in Detroit. Like I'm saying when he was with the Seahawks, but I think the game was also in Detroit. So it's the same fan in Detroit. And Detroit didn't do anything to that fan.
Okay. So if that's the case,
like the fan traveled. I don't think the fan traveled to Seattle to harass DK.
But did they suspend him from the stadium? Maybe for that year. So there you go. Yeah. So, and if exchanging words happens all the time. That you ain't gonna get suspended for just calling somebody a loser player.
Right.
But when you start getting physical, then to me, DK has more to lose, and he again, what is about 15, 20 yards almost away from the.
That's what I'm saying.
And I ain't going over.
I'm sorry. I'm DK. You're my number one guy. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking to you about when we go off for the next series. What I want you to do. So again, how did you let your star player get that far off? The field, the punter. Yeah, okay, I can see him getting over there. But not him. So again, I think there was a breakdown on a lot of levels there. But obviously Pittsburgh, they go into a big contest this coming weekend, and it could have major repercussions in terms of the outcome. But let's talk about some of these outcomes as we start to wind down the show. We don't want to keep you guys here too late tonight, but we got some major matchups coming up. So again, we got Sunday 4:30 ABC ESPN. This is for the NFC South title. We got again Carolina and the Bucks. What are your pick? I just think that the Bucks are just a limping team right now. I think that it's going to be very hard for me to see them losing, Carolina losing this game. But what say you guys on this pick? Who wins this game? And like I said, the Bucks, they cannot win outright. They need Atlanta to lose in order to win this division. So it's not even a true winner-take-all situation. But, Shawnee, what are your thoughts on this game? Who comes out on top with this matchup?
I think it's going to be actually a pretty entertaining game. I think Panthers going to ultimately win. Like I said, the Bucks, I believe, is a more talented team, but they are just – I always say I want my team to play their best football at the end of the year than the beginning. And right now you've seen a team that played – good football in the beginning because Mayfield was up in the MVP conversation early in the year, and Carolina was just kind of, mediocre. They wasn't a bad football team. They was kind of mediocre, but then they started catching fire as the season started going on. And I believe right now it's just they just more of a rhythm. I believe it was the game. What was that? The game that the Bucks lost against the Falcons, to where, what's their head coach name? The Bucks head coach, not Morris. That's Falcons coach. Whatever. But after he had that post game rant, he was cussing all over the place.
Yeah.
And they were saying like that's not his personality, and they have been on a slide ever since.
Todd Bowles.
Yeah. And they just have been on the slide ever since. And I just, even though they got Evans coming back, they still just, I think they have Evans and Bucky Irvin, the offense, and Godwin, and they still just sliding. So I got Panthers because I think they. Hell, I wasn't surprised if Dotto has a good rushing game versus them. So
yeah, for sure. Coach, your thoughts on the game? Who comes out?
Man, I'm rooting for Carolina, man. I want to see Stroud, see him go ahead and give him a little playoff win. I think it'll be good for the team. Carolina was one of the bottom, feeder teams for years. So to find out that they actually fighting for playoff contention this late in the season says a lot about how they're, still trying to be a solid contender. But I'm disappointed in Tampa Bay, man. I remember Shawnee was Baker Mayfield, the MVP. Now they look like they hanging out too much at the clubs, man. And it's unfortunate, they was rolling. Then it seemed like something happened. Some had to, but the way Bowles sort of went off, something's going on in that locker room. Something's going on in that locker room. They're gonna have to fix it, or you may see major changes in Tampa next year. So,
wow, you think Bowles' job is safe?
No, his job is not safe. If they lose against Carolina, no, he could be out of there. Baker Mayfield, they could be on a whole rebuild.
Gotcha. Next game up again with maybe title on the line. So again, you got Seattle, San Francisco for the NFC West. Again, 5:00. Who you got in this game, Shawnee? I think I would take at this point. I mean, San Francisco with Purdy, they're starting to click.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, they got their OC, their offensive tackle. Their main guy, I think he's back, and Purdy's looking pretty good right now. So again, I think that's going to be a very high-scoring affair. But it wouldn't surprise me if San Francisco pull that game out. But what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's going to be a highly entertaining game. But I got San Fran simply because they got the advantage of playing at home. It's going to be a good game. Like you mentioned, Purdy. I think Purdy is playing like one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. Like
so much for game manager at this point.
And I remember the same conversation people was having about Dak because you given this quarterback that wasn't on these, Dak, Purdy. They not on the level as the Mahomes or now Josh Allen or even Lamar Jackson. But you giving them, they obviously getting the money. So much money going to them that's going to affect, signing. It's going to have a trickle effect down the roster as far as, signings and whatnot. Because remember when Purdy, people thought, it was all about Deebo Samuel and I forgot one of his other receivers who he had who's injured right now. He's not even playing right now. But he has shown like, dude, just give me, because remember, Kittle wasn't even playing in this past game.
Right.
And his backup tight end, he was, having a nice game. The way that one play that Purdy had, where he literally just did like, I don't know, wiggle waggle in the red zone, and also he threw it to his fullback standing right there. I was like, yeah, that dude, he is in a good rhythm right now. So, and we talked about Darnold earlier in the show. Seattle, they playing good football right now too, especially offensively, and they have a good defense. 49ers defense, of course, they dealing with, losing two of their best players on defense, but you got to give props to Salah for, doing what he's doing with that defense, even after losing his two best players. And I think Salah has another future as a head coach. He went to that Jet situation, and once they made the move on, hey, we're going to get Rodgers, it looked like they was listening more to Rodgers than their head coach. He was just like, man, it was just a bad situation. But I think that's going to be an entertaining game. I got the 49ers because I believe they're playing at home, so I just got to give. Otherwise, both teams are just even. But you get an advantage to the home team.
Gotcha. Want to welcome certain to the show our guy Dante. Glad you were able to make it in. So I know we've been kind of spending all night I want to give you the floor for a couple minutes to just kind of get you caught up. So again, we talked about the DK situation. That's sort of our top breaking story, or the lead story for the night. Then we also talk about the matchups, the key matchups coming up. We got the Carolina Bucks game coming up, and we were just talking about the Seattle and San Francisco game. Both of these games, could possibly be for the title of their divisions. So again, if anything that you want to kind of quickly jump in on, or and kind of give you 2 cents on, I want to give you that opportunity.
What's going on, fellas? What I want to say, the biggest takeaway I have is, although I can't stand the 49ers, I'm impressed that with all the defensive injuries, they've been able to hold it together. So, like you said, Shiny, piggybacking what you said, shout out to Robert Saleh. A system that he's comfortable with, players that he knows. I mean, but just making it happen. Only thing I'll say is, I'm gonna go away from what I normally would. I think Sam Darnold showed me enough. I think he can win this game. I think he can play well enough to win this game. And I know that, what Demarcus Lawrence and Witherspoon, Devin Witherspoon, those guys in that Seattle defense, they're a pretty good bunch. Like, I know I got kind of scarred for that one game. They were going back and forth with the Bucks. But no, they've overall been a really good defense. I want to say their defensive coordinator. I think he was the old defensive line coach in Dallas. And, McDonald, I think he was the old DC in Baltimore, and he's their head coach now. So it's just like the new blood of what Seattle was thinking of doing and moving on from Pete is working for them. I think they got enough to get it done. I feel like, and I got to give Brock Purdy his props. And he's making it, like you said, work. He did have Ayuk, who basically they're going to discard. Got rid of Deebo Samuels, and he's making it work with Persall sometimes when he's playing, and then Juwan Jennings. And so, and then Coach, I know you doubt him, but CMC is actually staying healthy and making a lot of plays. So, the 49ers, they're in position. It wouldn't surprise me if they won, but I'm picking Seattle in that one. And as far as DK, I know we said it in the chat. I didn't realize, I know he was a big part of the offense. I didn't realize it was going to be that inept without him there. And you got to keep your cool in those situations. You can't let that happen to you in your career ever again. You can't let that happen.
Gotcha. Real quick, want to visit something with you, Dante. If Darnold wins this game and does it impressively, would you pick him or would you pick Drake May as MVP this year?
I'm going Drake May off of the fact of, I know Darnold, we saw some of it last year. I thought I would see improvement from May. I still don't just love his receiving set other than Hunter Henry. I'm giving it to May from top to bottom. From like that first performance against Sunday Night Football against the Bills. And I was just like, yo, this guy's really got something. That's the first time it really caught my attention. And so I would say I'm leaning Drake May.
Gotcha. All right, last key matchup, certainly the last game of the year, 8:20 start, Sunday Night Football, Steelers, Ravens. This is for everything. It's winner take all. The loser is out of the playoffs. The winner is a 4 seed. I'm to the point now where all I wanted for Christmas was just a nice, easy win for the Steelers. Like 30-10. With 6 minutes left in the game, you take Aaron Rodgers out, you rest your stars, you put the backups in. I haven't seen that kind of game in 5 years. And the game of Detroit, you're up 2 tubs, and you almost lose that game. Crazy, wacky play at the end of the game. You almost lost that one. You're in Nep and in Cleveland. I'm to the point now where I know the fire Mike Tomlin chants have grown over time. And as much as I wouldn't want to let him go, but I think if they do let him go, if they miss the playoffs, even though he's never had a losing season, even though he's got 200 wins, I think it may be time to go. Because every game, and I'm going into rant mode right now, but it's like the problem with Tomlin, in my view, is that he treats every team the same. And to me, that's a problem. I think in the NFL, you got certain teams you're supposed to beat and beat handily. When you see New England thrashing the Jets the way they did. But in Pittsburgh, it came down to the wire again, where you had Jalen Ramsey had to make a play at the end of the game to win it. You know, against scrub, and this has been happening for years against teams that are below 500. His record is woeful. But again, against good teams, they'll always be competitive. But he treats scrub teams, and there are scrub teams in the NFL. I don't want to hear this parody stuff. There's certain teams you need to beat, and he barely beats them if he beats them at all. But then he'll beat the New England team that didn't thrash the Jets. So I think I don't know if there's just a mindset or needs a culture change there, but I'm not feeling them in this game. I don't care who you start. In fact, I think Baltimore, you might want to start your backup. They're talking about Jackson might be available for the game. I think you increase your chances of winning if you start Hundley in this game over Lamar Jackson. And just with, again, DK's not going to be there. And like we saw, the offense is inept when he's not there. I got a feeling that the Steelers are going to lose this game, and we may see the end of the Tomlin era. So, yes, I'm as much as I'm a fan, lifelong fan for almost 50 years, I'm saying I think the Steelers lose this game, and I think we come to the end of the Mike Tomlin era. So I'm putting the hex, every kind of hex combination you can on this thing. And I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm kind of using some reverse psychology here, hoping that it works out for me. But I just have no hope. Who would I hire? I mean, look, you got all these young guys who nobody heard about coming into the league or whatnot. So it can come from anywhere. Mike Tomlin came from nowhere. No one knew who he was. So there's all kinds of OC and DC coordinators out there. And you're saying he may have a job after he goes. Listen, Marvin Lewis, who had winning season in Cincinnati for years, never got another starting coaching job. So don't be so sure that he's going to get another job right away if he loses. I'm just saying, but if he's labeled as a mediocre head coach, yes, he's a motivator, but again, these teams constantly better than average, but not Super Bowl winning or not competitive, hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. All those things are true. Those are facts. I can't deny those. I don't think it's a guarantee that he gets another job within 10 minutes if someone scoops him up. If New Orleans, if you want to hire him, then go ahead. Or the Giants, if you want to hire him, then go ahead. But I don't know if that increases your lot because, again, the mentality is he respects every team. And I'm sorry. There's certain teams you should be able to go into a game thinking we're going to beat this team by 20 points. And we haven't seen that since the Killer Bee era when you had Ben and Brown and Bell and all those guys when they were able to put a lot of points on the board. So that's my take on it. That's my rant. That's my final rant of the year on the Steelers. But it's like every game I got an ulcer because they make every game so hard. Can't you just close it out, get a first down, and win the game? But no, you miss a field goal, a gimme field goal with one of the best kickers in the league. You miss a field goal, you're up 5. Detroit goes all the way down. And if it wasn't for an offensive PI at the end of the game, you would have lost that one as well. It's like I can't just have a nice, relaxing Sunday. I'm too stressed out, and I'm tired of it. So again, yes, maybe the best thing that happened to the Steelers is that he jumps off the stage. Congrats on the 200 wins. Congrats on the no losing seasons. But enough. I just want my life to be easier, and I'm just not having it in recent years. So that's kind of where the state of the Steelers is at this point. I'm frazzled. DK doing what he's doing. Oh, TJ Watt, dry needling, and you almost lose a lung over it. You can't make this stuff up. He's never available towards the end of the season, or he's hurt at the end of the going into the playoffs. You can't make this stuff up. Why are you doing dry needling at this point of the season and you almost lost a lung over it? I can't win. So I'm done, at this point. So, all right, good.
Brother Bennett, everything you mentioned had nothing to do with the coach. None of that has anything to do with the coach. And that's the unique thing about it, because, again, defensive line and coach. Defense typically is pretty decent, not, top 5, but in the top 10 usually. Pittsburgh is too old right now. They too old and not in the key positions. They're too old, and that's the problem. They need to get younger. Go ahead and get Shador. They're going to beat Baltimore. I think they're going to beat Baltimore because Baltimore's going to get away from the run. And they're going to lead. And if Lamar plays, they're going to try to let him win the game. He's not going to do it. He's going to make some bad plays because he's already gave up on his team. But, yeah, you know, if they fire
how did Lamar give up on his team? I need you to explain that one to me.
Because you can see when he's on the field, when he's throwing the ball, he has no zest on it. He's just out there. He's not taking advantage of trying to do everything it takes to win the game. I just watch his demeanor. I watch his eyes. I watch everything when I see Lamar, and he shows it on his face during the game. But I'll say this: if Pittsburgh fires Tomlin, they're going to be in rebuilding mode, Brother Bennett, for the next 10 years.
That's fine. They were in rebuilding mode for 30 years until Bill Cowher came in.
Well, that's Bill Cowher. But we've been 16 years since and had a winning season. They let him go. You might not see another winning season.
Hey, sometimes you got to tear the whole house down. I'm there now. I'm there. Go ahead, Sean.
I put it like this because I understand what Mr. Bennett is saying. Because
I can relate because Dallas is the same, huh?
It's a perfect because when people mention the Cowboys, they don't care about the Cowboys making the playoffs. Or hell, the Cowboys had 3 straight 12-winning seasons. They didn't care about the Cowboys making the playoffs. The running joke with the Cowboys is that they cannot get to the NFC title game. They haven't been there since back, what's that, 95. So if the Cowboys are doing that, they have won since 2016. The Cowboys have at least won some playoff games. But if they getting just drugged through the mud because they can't even go through the NFC title game, and then you have a franchise out there under one head coach who hasn't won a playoff game. When they franchise is basically on the same level as the Cowboys. They have the same amount of Super Bowls. They are up there. They are about championships. They're not about just making it to the playoffs and put a smile on your face. They want to win. But when you have a head coach on the franchise who have not won a playoff game in basically a decade, I'm like, how is he able to get it's like Tomlin is able to get every single pass season after season after season after season. But if this was any other franchise who had the pedigree as the Steelers do, oh, you'd be like, okay, man, it's time for a change. You won. Okay, you never had a losing season. Congratulations. We know when you get to the playoffs, you might as well just go ahead and start your season early. You're not going to win. But everybody wants to clap, give him a pat on the back because he finished 500 or better. But if this was any other franchise in the NFL, and me being a fan of one franchise, we dealt with this even longer, but they have had more postseason success than the Steelers recently. And we still get drugged through the mud. But this franchise, they get every benefit, particularly this head coach, every benefit of the doubt, year after year after year after year, down to a decade. And I look at your playoff record in a decade, Mr. Bennett could tell me that probably the top of his tongue, whatever. And I'm like, how? I understand, yes, if Tomlin is let go by Pittsburgh tonight, and it is locally here in Central Time, 8:30, by midnight he'll be on a job. He get a job somewhere else in the NFL. I understand that, but sometimes locker rooms do need a change of voice, and especially if that voice has not led to a playoff victory in a decade, I can't think of any other franchise or any other fan base that will appreciate that. I'm like, okay, dude, something has to change. We want Super Bowls, and we can't even win a playoff game. Something has to change, and generally, if that happens, they're going to look directly at the head coach. That's what every single fan base is going to do. But for this fan base, I don't know, because this is different.
Now the Yinzers want him out. It's like he was getting fired. Mike Tomlin chance. I think at the Green Bay game, but they lost to. So yeah, it was thick. Then they went on that 3-game winning streak. Again, you go to Detroit and beat them, and they needed that game also. And then you lose to the Browns. You can't even put 6 points on the board.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Mr. Bennett. I feel like he does coach the same, and he doesn't just go for the kill because I don't think he's felt comfortable going for the kill since you had a in this prime big Roethlisberger, and I think he keeps the baseline as far as winning and maybe making the playoffs, maybe not, but he hasn't let the Steelers bottom out. And I'm with you, Coach Bird. They may bottom out if he gets fired or if he moves on, but it may be for the better so that you can get higher draft picks. You're always drafted in the same range. So yes, Derek Harmon was a good player, but now you get a better player each part of the draft, and you get a different voice. It's not working as well as it could have. And my thing is, and Shani, you're right. If this was another team, it may come off differently. And since Tomlin is so likable with the media and other fan bases fell away from him. I hate the Steelers, but I got love for Mike Tomlin because it's like he's a damn good coach. I can see that, but it may be time for him to go somewhere else.
Yeah. But what are your picks on the game? So I think Coach said Steelers. You think the Steelers? You got the Ravens. Who you got down to?
If they did what Coach said, if they could stick to the run game for whatever reason, Todd Monken just don't do that. But if they could give Henry the game, especially the game he just came off of, if you gonna go back,
I think there's no way he could do that after what he did last week.
I don't think he may not replicate that performance, but he should Derrick Henry needs to leave that game versus Pittsburgh with having at least 30 carries. I don't want to see this dude 14 carries. Hell, I don't want to see him. Right now, he's the only weapon you have because Lamar Jackson, I don't think, is going to play. So give him the rock. Let him run with it. If you don't, then okay, then Todd Monken. I know we're talking about Tomlin, but Todd Monken needs to go. That don't make no sense to me.
Yeah, I hear that. Guys, we're going to expedite the end of the show. Just real quick, a couple things I just want to share before we get on out of here. So obviously we got the playoffs going on at this point. And again, Miami, it's the third quarter, 13-38. They're still up 14-0. Ohio State is on their 37-yard line. So again, look out for the upset at this point. Like I said earlier, I mean, these early games, with Tulane and then the game with James Madison, again, change the format. If anything, have those teams play each other like they do with the NCAA tournament, that's field of 68. Let those 4 teams play each other, and then those guys get into the 64. But again, I don't think that was necessarily worth watching. But Miami, they seem to be on a run. Ohio had the bye, and they seem to be moving on. But again, they're in some serious issues right now. They're at the 45. They need to score and score soon if they want to make this a game. And then you have, again, on the other side of it, I think I had another one here. So you got, Oregon, Texas Tech, and you have Alabama versus Indiana. Any comments on this? Who do you like out of the Indiana-Alabama matchup? Who you like coming out of here? Dante, I'll start with you.
Man, I'm going to go with Indiana. Indiana impressed me with being able to knock off Ohio State. I thought they were, the best team, going into the conference championship weekend. So I'm going with Indiana. And then I know Texas Tech is a great story, guns up and all of that, but I think they haven't really faced the level of competition that Oregon is. And I think that Oregon, they're going to be a little too much for them.
Gotcha. Coach?
Man, I think Indiana better be on high alert, man. They better be on high alert, man. Sometimes, teams, they have these Cinderella seasons, and I would say Indiana's definitely had a Cinderella season. But, Alabama, although I had some suspicions about them getting in, they always still the top 10 team, though. And they have players who've been there who are waiting for their time. So it's going to be an interesting game. Listen, man, to pick a winner right now, man, I can roll the dice on this, man. I would say this, though, just because I'll pick Indiana, although I could change my bet at halftime. But it's gonna be a close one, man. It's gonna be a hell of a game, though. I think this will probably be the game of the year when it comes to college football playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely, I think, well viewed as far as the game. Shawnee, your thoughts on these two games here?
Well, these two games, and then also going back to the Miami, and who the other one? Miami, not Miami, but Georgia, Mississippi.
Georgia.
Ole Miss, yeah.
So
Miss.
one thing I'm noticing though, and I'll get to my picks, but with this playoff format, because right now I'm seeing it with Ohio State, they have to wait a long time before they play. And meanwhile, the team they play against just played 2 weeks ago, so they able to find some type of rhythm. So I know, because in the NFL, they postseason, they bye week, you wait one more week longer. But in college football, you waiting a month, like over a month to play. So I'm curious if this rusting, because I remember seeing this last year as well, unless it was just such a discrepancy between the teams when they played each other. But it's going to be curious to see how the games go tomorrow, because 3 of them are scheduled tomorrow. But between the Texas Tech has a very good defense, so that's why I may give them the edge in their game. And Indiana has a very good defense, so I actually have Tech and Indiana winning their 2 respective games, because basically both of their defense, Texas Tech, their defense will turn you over in a heartbeat, and it's a snowball. Once they get momentum, it'll just get bigger, and it'll just get worse for the opposing team.
Gotcha. All right, Anton, I just sent you the link, so if you want to come up and certainly promote your channel, come up in the next few minutes. I'm kind of going to get into I don't know, I guess it's sort of a closing thing. You guys sort of chime in on it. So again, there was another event that happened certainly over the last couple of weeks since we've been on. You did have the fight with Jake Paul or if you want to call it that, Anthony Joshua, with Jake Paul getting his jaw broken. I didn't even believe it at first. I thought, because everything about this guy is fake, so I didn't believe he got that. But went 6 rounds. I said that if it went any more than 2 rounds, then I would say that, again, they kind of had a handshake deal. Let's go in and let's just run around and try kind of, entertain a little bit. And then, you can do what you want after that. And then even when he got knocked down, he kind of looked over to the right or whatever. He kind of nodded his head. It's like, yep, I think I'm done. I think I've done enough here to kind of sell the fight or whatever. But again, I'm not a fan generally of these exhibitions is what I call it. And now, if I understand, Jake, he's retiring. So again, fortunately, we won't have to see the Paul brothers. Again, I salute their business acumen greatly. But again, as far as for boxing, this wasn't really a competitive sport. And I just thought that I literally didn't watch. I watched the fight before with the women. You had Alicia Baumgartner on the card. I saw that, and then when this fight came in, I just turned it off. I figured I'd look at the content later, and I didn't miss anything. So but yeah, hopefully this will be the end of the Paul spectacle. And but again, you gotta understand this is dangerous stuff. Also, I mean, AJ's a huge guy, 250-pound fighter, big guy, and him landing leather on a guy who's probably out 50 pounds lighter than he is. That's never a good situation. And certainly I wouldn't want to see him in that position. Shout out to Anton being on, but I'm just kind of summarizing here. But even with that, even with everything that I'm talking about, the Pauls or whatever, again, life is precious. Life is important. So unfortunately, we saw yesterday, this is a scene from the accident. So again, he went to Anthony Joshua went to his native home in Nigeria. His Nigerian background, was in a massive car accident. Fortunately, he came out with only a couple of bruises, but unfortunately, he lost his personal trainer and strength coach, Kevin Latz and Sina Gami. Those guys were in the car with them. They lost their lives. Very tragic, especially at this time of year. And so I just wanted to acknowledge their loss And I'm glad that Anthony Joshua, regardless of what you think of him as a fighter or what have you, but again, life is precious, and anything can happen at any time. And I just want to take some time to recognize and acknowledge these men who've been on this team for a long time. And again, just a tragic event when all he was trying to do was just visiting and show some love to his native peoples. Just very sad. If anybody wants to kind of chime in on that, and then the last thing I'll have is Brother Anton jumping on tonight. You have something you want to promote, so I'm going to give you the floor to close
well,
out.
I have a quick question about
yeah.
it. So, first of all, it's sad what happened with Joshua and his two friends with the accident. But besides like and I'm talking about the marquee, like what we just witnessed with the fight with Crawford. Those are marquee, huge fights. But besides those level of fights, are these exhibition fights like with Jake Paul and whoever he's fighting against, and these other exhibition fights that we get? I know we had the Roy Jones and Tyson one time, and
yeah,
are they getting like more? Are they like basically more money, or getting more push behind them besides other like, but besides the mega fights that we just saw with Crawford and Canelo? But are these exhibition fights basically getting more shine than legit boxing matches?
Well, certainly for except for the elites, yeah. I mean, like Black Man said, I mean, as far as Jake made more money than 99% of most professional boxers.
And that's the sad part.
And that's the thing. But again, they built. I think the way they built, because think about it, most boxers, for the most part, with the exception of a few gyms, like I go back, me and Anton, Sugar Ray Leonard, and he was Olympic medal champion. He was photogenic. He was Mike Tyson, was just wrecking everybody. You get those guys who come in, but most boxers, they're kind of quiet. I mean, Marvin Hagler, as much of a beast as he was, he didn't like to talk. He didn't like to say anything. The Pauls built their brand outside of the sport.
That's true.
Anything that they were going to do, they were going to get that fan following them. So they kind of did it the other way around. But there's very few boxers that you can think of that are charismatic. Oscar De La Hoya, charismatic. Even Floyd Mayweather Jr., for the wrong reason. The guy you wanted to see get beat. Few guys have the that kind of personality that draws people into them.
And also, I think what it is, Mr. Bennett, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sure.
You got some fighters, that were wanting opportunities and never got them. One perfect example of a fighter that's been dying for an opportunity, who's been hungry, was Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
And anyone that did not follow boxing didn't know who he was. Didn't know his background or anything else. Anyone who followed boxing knew about him. This was a guy who moved up in weight to fight Roy Jones and lost, and then went back to his weight class and dominated for a better part of 10 years. People didn't start recognizing who Bernard Hopkins was as a fighter until he fought Felix Trinidad in New York. And of course, it got delayed a couple weeks because of September 11th.
Yeah.
But he was a serious underdog going into that fight. And I remember a lot of people were picking Trinidad to win that fight because they felt like he's the younger fighter. He got what it takes. Bernard Hopkins is nobody. But anyone that followed boxing, I was telling people, like, nah, you have to take him serious because there's a reason why he's called the executioner. He's going to find a way to wear you out, and then at the last round, he's going to finish the job. And that's what he's always done, and that's what he did against Trinidad. And when he beat Trinidad, a lot of people were shocked. I wasn't shocked. I was excited. I was happy, yes. And that was his biggest payday, and that's what put him on the map. And if anyone ever noticed, ever since that fight, Trinidad was never the same. I think he fought like one or two more fights after that and then retired. Hopkins took his heart, and that's what made him a dangerous fighter. And that's why I tell people, the fighters you never hear of are the ones that are going to do the most damage. Bernard Hopkins is a perfect example of that. He wasn't that photo. I'm not saying he didn't want to do commercials or anything else. He didn't have a problem doing appearances or anything. He did have a bit of a troubled past, and he's been on the straight and narrow ever since. From that moment he got out of jail, He stayed on the straight and narrow. You never heard not one negative thing about him outside the ring, not even a parking ticket. He always stayed on the straight and narrow.
But it's saying we talk about Bud Crawford, right? I mean, he's
Right.
same thing, family man, everything. But again, why he doesn't get the garnering, even though people are putting him in the GOAT conversation, and still he never got the marketing, he never got the advertising, he never got the celebrity appearances or whatever. He's just a mystery. Like why this kind of staying away from him, is somewhat of a mystery to me. But again, certain fighters resonate, personality wise, and if you don't have that charisma, it's very hard to have a following. The Paul brothers, they've been able to certainly have, especially with a lot of millennials and Gen Zers, they have that attraction, that sort of alpha male energy that they exude, and that attracts people. Just like that guy who also got beat recently. Who was the guy from what's that? He got annihilated, but he's got all these followers who think he's the epitome of the alpha male, and yet he gets the attention. So,
but ironically, Andrew Tate actually was a fighter. He didn't do boxing. I think he did MMA fighting.
MMA, right. But that was like his first boxing match, and he got annihilated. So again, it's just
he's done MMA for a period of time, and then all of a sudden he found out he can make more money. Doing the social media thing, doing the stuff that he was doing that he's known for. And then, of course, all the other stuff in Romania, but we're not going to get into that. Bud Crawford is a very good fighter. I think he appreciates what boxing was able to do for him and his family. And he doesn't take it for granted. That's why he doesn't do a lot of the commercials. That's why he doesn't do a lot of that stuff. I think the one thing I remember him doing after he beat the Canelo Alvarez fight was he was in Lincoln to watch Nebraska play a home game, and he led them out of the tunnel before the game started.
Yeah.
And I remember he was being interviewed after that, and he just said he just enjoyed everything that came with boxing. He enjoys what boxing has done for him and his family. He appreciates it. He doesn't take it for granted. And I think that's just what it is. He just feels like, he feels like maybe doing commercials or movies or TV spots makes him become someone that he knows that he isn't. And maybe he feels comfortable being the family guy, the husband, the father, doing stuff in the background, being there for his kids, little things like that. You can't knock him for that. You can't. Another fighter that also you hear.
We're gonna have to have a part two.
All right.
I got a hard stop, guys. I mean, hard. Listen. No pause. BMU, do not say pause. I don't want to hear that from you. But in any event, Anton, you got something to promote. Now you've been calling us out because again, as you can see, we're not the biggest hockey fans. But you got something cooking.
Okay.
So promote what you're gonna promote and let people know, and we'll hype it up. We'll blow you up. We'll do everything.
Okay.
But
This is what I got going on right now. I started working in the background. I got 3 channels coming up. One is called the Black Guys Breakdown. That's basically going to be me talking about hockey at every level. The NHL, the AHL, college game, the women's game, international, juniors, you name it. I'm going to talk different aspects of it, so on and so forth. A lot of people are surprised about my knowledge of hockey. I know you guys are. My niece was telling me how somebody didn't think someone that was black would be into the game, and she had to tell him, like, yo, my uncle's a big hockey fan. Talk to him. So I'm working on that channel right now. I got another channel that's going to be called The Den of Death Valley. I'm going to be focusing on LSU football and LSU athletics. A friend of mine that does Colorado football gave me the idea, and I figured I'm going to start focusing on that as well. Not just on football and everything else, but I'm going to do the other athletics and anything and everything associated with LSU. And the third channel I came up with originally was called Let's Talk About It, and it's just going to be focusing on mental health and other issues that go on in our community, why we don't address these things. Sweet. And hopefully to make it as a safe space for people like us to sit down and talk about whatever it is that's going on. And I know I'm not a specialist or anything, but maybe hopefully I could share my story and let them know that there are people out here that are also dealing with issues, and maybe hopefully me sharing my story can get them to start looking into maybe talking to somebody about whatever it is that's going on. So that's basically what it is. So those are the 3 channels I got. I'm hoping to get started in the beginning of the new year. Right now, I got some stuff put together. I really want to just make sure that everything's covered because I'm thinking about doing merchandising as well. So once I have it all covered, I'll be on the air before you know it.
Sounds good. And as soon as you get those links dropping and everything, make sure you drop the links in. We'll bring you on and, just kind of set you up. I love to tee you up, not just here, but on other platforms me and Coach work with. I think certainly your you're dealing with mental health, I think that'll certainly be about a welcome discussion as well. So again, we'll help you any way we can, certainly in these spaces. But we appreciate you being on. And again, as I said earlier, you've been the biggest supporter of us on this channel through your super chats, supporting the BMU network. And we really appreciate your support on all the platforms that we were on.
Listen,
and,
you guys deserve it and everything else. I just had to, I had to give you guys your credit because I like some of the stuff you guys are talking about. There's some things I agree with. There's some things I don't agree with. Yeah, I like to jab you, but not talking about hockey and everything else. I just have to. But World Juniors is going on right now in Minnesota. And this was the deadline for all Olympic teams to turn in their rosters to the IAHF, which is the governing body of international hockey for the Olympics. I think Canada made their roster announcement today. The United States is going to make their announcement for their men's, women's, and their Paralympic teams January 2nd. And I think Sweden, Finland is going to be doing their announcements on January 4th. So if anyone's looking to see who made the roster for this year's Olympics for the respective teams that are playing, you can go to NHL.com, IIHF.com, NHLPA.com, and they're going to have the rosters and everything else. Dante, I think 3 of your boys for your beloved Stars are going to be playing for Finland this year. I just figured I'd give you a heads up on that. I think your goalie also, I think, made the U.S. roster too, Jake Oppinger. I got to find out. But as soon as I find out, so I just tell people, if you guys want to watch some competitive hockey and what it means to play for national pride, check out the World Juniors that's going on in Minnesota this year, in both Minneapolis and St. Paul. Watch that. That's going on until maybe, I think, around January 5th, January 6th. So there's still some competitive hockey you want to watch. And just wait till the Olympics and everything else. So other than that, that's all I got to say.
Salute, guys. First of all, it's been a pleasure sharing this platform with you guys for the year. I know, certainly, I consider you guys friends. And again, Shawnee, for you and your family, again, just continue strength to you, brother, and all yours and whatnot. And just, and I look forward to a day on real talk. If we get a chance, it'd be a blessing. We can meet in person. I know you guys had two. I get 2 for 1 in Texas, in DFW area. So if I can get that. And Anton, we have got to meet, bro. We in Jersey and we haven't met yet. So we're gonna have to make that happen ASAP.
Oh, definitely.
In the new year and catch up. And I may have to go down to Louisville. Coach, you in Louisville area, correct?
Brother, if you ever come to the Kentucky Derby, man, listen,
I got to style up. I got to get a stylist.
Coach, you buy the first round.
You got to come correct.
I got to come with the right hat on. That's going to take some work.
Hey, Coach, if you want us to come down for the run for the roses, you got to pay for the mint juleps, all right?
Man, I'll make you some before I listen. I'll make you some mint juleps first, man.
I bet.
All right, guys, listen, got to run. Guys, be safe out there. Real talk. I mean, especially with AJ happened to him. Be safe out there. Enjoy your new year. For those who continue to celebrate Kwanzaa, enjoy the rest of your Kwanzaa celebrations. And certainly until we meet again, certainly for myself, for Shawnee, the coach, Dante, and Anton, our hockey enthusiast and specialist, who's going to be bringing you content in the future. This is the BMU Network. This is the One-on-One Sports Show. Take care. God bless. And we will see you next year. Good night.
Peace.
I gotta find the outro. They did it to me again. Sometimes it's in here and then I come in and it's gone. So someone's always messing with the channel. Can't you just leave it the way it is? Outro. I'm looking for the I see. I just saw the intro and nothing's sorted. So I'm gonna have to get on BMU about this later on. Nothing's sorted. So I'm just looking for the outro video. Come on, guys. Where is it?
You got it. Hold on. Let me see if you actually went off. No, you're still on.
I know I'm still on, but I didn't want to just cut. I didn't want to just cut out. What do you do to the outro video? Come on, outro.
Keep looking. You'll find it.
This is painful. He's gonna cut this. He's gonna cut this out anyway. So, intro, sports intro. I think it's not here.
There's no one in the video.
The roll call, super chat. I'm just gonna do a hard boot. I'm gonna do a hard end on this, guys. But I will. But I will see you guys later on. Have a good
You
night.
have a good one, Mr. Better. Be
Okay.
safe.
All right.